That's the only thing I can think of. This is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge. We are heading into our final 30 minutes after this break. A recorded show because Taylor's at a hockey game. We'll be back right after this. Here's just a sample of what you can expect when you listen to Amanda and the Edge of Anarchy Monday nights on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
So freedom and liberty can actually help the state. Take marijuana, for example. If we legalize it, we should force Congress to smoke it. I mean, can you imagine the outcome of that? Hey, Senator Reid, I got a great idea. Let's just not tax Taco Bell. Leave them alone. Maybe they'll, take a taco and put it in your burrito.
That's the Edge of Anarchy with your host, Amanda, Monday nights at 9 on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
We want to welcome Michael Moore to Occupy Wall Street. I'm so impressed by what I'm seeing here.
How much of people's income do you, Michael Moore, want the government to confiscate?
Probably twice what we're paying right now.
It's not envy, it's war.
Where's the rage? Where's the uprising?
Storm the doors of the New York Stock Exchange.
It is a class war.
If the wealthy paid their fair share. For a documentary filmmaker, I do really well. I'm very blessed.
And the rich thought poverty was bad.
I do well.
They get rid of it.
What pure? There's nothing pure about capitalism.
And they know what's coming on Wall Street.
We're seeing the end of capitalism. And I say good riddance.
He is one of my favorite capitalists. Yeah, I want to give him a hug.
Thinking that your life's been overrun, but you know you're not the only one.
This is David Brown, author of Deep State. You are listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
A different set of rules with every breath. Hold your fire till you see the whites of their eyes. Hold your fire.
You're listening to Saturday Night Cigar Lounge with Taylor, right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
And this is Saturday Night Cigar Lounge here on Vigilant Liberty Radio. I am your host, Taylor Millard. A little bit of housekeeping because we did play the Edge of Anarchy promo. Your special guest host of Edge of Anarchy on Monday is yours truly. So I will be filling in for Amanda on the Edge of Anarchy. I don't know what we'll talk about. Maybe we'll preview State of the Union, which I forgot was coming up, which shows just how bad I've gotten because I wasn't paying attention to the fact that, that was happening, which is kind of sad. But, whatever. Speaking of the president, it's a little bit of a note. On Friday, he urged European governments to try to better assimilate their Muslim minority populations as they respond to extremist attacks like last week's shooting in Paris. I'm actually kind of amused by this, and I'll tell you why in a second. Obama said the Paris attack underscored how terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIL, or as I like to call them, ISIS, are actively trying to inspire and support people within our own countries to engage in terrorism. Our biggest advantage, major, is that our Muslim populations feel themselves to be Americans, and there is this incredible process of immigration and assimilation that is part of our tradition. Is this really true? Is it really true that assimilation and integration is happening? And I'm not just saying with Muslims, but just with people in general. Because one of the things that I've noticed, and I really think that integration is a very big part, and one of the reasons why America has been so great is because there has been integration. But more recently, we've seen people not want to assimilate or integrate. They've not wanted to do that. They wanted to instead go back to their roots. Whether it's me wanting to own a 14th century English warhammer or the creation of Kwanzaa. I know, they're not the same. I'm just trying to point out different instances of that. And I really think that it is important for us to be a homogenous society, but still be able to be unique in our own little way. I mean, I sit here and I'm staring at Batman statues, hockey stuff, Texas stuff, Harry Dresden stuff, a few Minions, yes, from Despicable Me, you know, books, etc., etc. You know, there's nothing wrong with everybody having their own identity. But it should be pointed out that there is times when it really doesn't seem like the integration is happening in the U.S. And I think a part of it is, I mean, even when you had people get together in their own neighborhoods, you know, you had people who, you know, you had the Irish typically live together, the English, American Indians. Even when black people, even when that happened, you still had, they still interacted with each other. It wasn't like they were cloistered off from society. Chinatown. You know, they weren't, and Chinatown is not an example of cloistering off, okay? They weren't. So, I think what, just in general, that the U.S. has to avoid, and European countries have to avoid, and they're their own little mess. I mean, I can say, hey, maybe you need to avoid this, but, you know, whether they want to, that's their own choice. I don't consider myself better than them. The integration is important, but it's how are people going to be, you know, integrated? That's the question. Now, I'm not advocating for everybody to be considered the, you know, wear the exact same clothes and be the exact, you know, look exactly the same. No. No. But, you know, that's kind of a societal thing, I guess. I mean, people ought to be able to, you know, dress how they want to, I think. Now, if a private company says you've got to have a dress code, that's the private company's decision. But I'm not always 100% sure that integration has happened here in the U.S. Or it has happened. And it seems like there's kind of this kind of pulling away at times. And if people want to, that's their choice. But, I mean, the way that my dad kind of always put it was, you got to be able to be your own unique person and still function in a semi-normal society. That's kind of my thoughts on what the president said in urging European governments to try to better assimilate their Muslim minority populations. There's a difference between assimilation and kowtowing. I guess that's the final thing I kind of want to say about that. This was something that Boston Randy and I were talking about on Twitter yesterday. You can follow me at EYE Desert Blog. That's at EYE Desert Blog. I promise to change it eventually, shortly, at some point. But SMU is in trouble again. That'd be Southern Methodist University here in Dallas, Texas. They are under investigation for allegedly, possibly, violating laws or NCAA programs. What SMU said on Friday was it's received notice from the NCAA about potential improprieties in the men's basketball and golf program. Golf. I find that funny. It was the Dallas Morning News that the NCAA's investigation uncovered as many as 11 potential infractions, including academic improprieties involving the grades of basketball player Keith Frazier. Frazier, by the way, apparently he was investigated last year because what the Dallas ISD found was that apparently a teacher's assistant pressured a physics teacher to raise his grade to make him eligible at SMU because he may not have met attendance requirements to graduate. Not only that, but apparently SMU's ace recruiter Ulrich Malagi asked about the players' grades in May. But what SMU said was that the school didn't ask that the player's grade to be changed. They were just asking about, hey, what do his grades look like? So, I find this interesting. Not only else, but apparently another member of the SMU team, Justin Martin, left the team on last Saturday, saying he would forego the rest of his senior season to turn pro. So what does that mean? It's a good question. Malagi, by the way, is on a leave of absence while that's being investigated. As for Larry Brown, who is the coach of the SMU Mustangs, recruiting violations were uncovered at UCLA, although those happened before he arrived. At Kansas, where he coached from 1983 to 1988, he admitted giving potential transfer Vincent Askew $364 for a plane ticket to visit his ill grandmother. I would love to know the circumstances of that. If it was, hey, you need the money, you can go visit. I have no problem with that. I don't. But I'm weird like that. I would love to find out. Apparently, the issues involving SMU's golf program.